Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to FM23 Youth Factory. This is episode number 5. We're at the end of our first season. I've played 2 more matches from where we left off, as in our first intake kids have gone out there and played well. At home, they won 3-1 in a game that was not overly dominant, but we were definitely the better team, and Brody Bick, who's playing on top, ended up with a hat trick in that one. But then we went on the road and had what is as comprehensive as a result as you're going to get. Now, we had a loss, at least one of them, that was this bad this season. I mean, we gave up 5 goals a couple of times. And then, of course, those friendlies at the beginning of the year, multiple times when we played somebody slightly higher division than us. But if you remember, our division's just so weak, so inferior compared to the divisions above us that even with those current ability ones, we've really hung in there this season and taken a number of results, which was absolutely shocking. But now that we have players that can play, a few of them can at least play 6th tier or better. They're, at least a few guys are that good. That is putting us on the front foot. Not every match, because we played just 2 here. One of them was just, you won. The other one was quite comprehensive, like the one that we did live. So 2 out of 3 so far have been us blowing away the opposition, and one has been kind of close, but still winning relatively comfortable. No perfect 10 rating, 3 different goal scorers, Brody Bick only getting 1 this time, but a very good rating through most of the players. Back line, just 6s. So not great from them, but is that because they never touched the ball and we were always on the front foot? You would think that by default with those goals, they'd get little bonuses, little tweaks. So there are still some weaknesses, and our defense does contain some weaknesses. They're probably good enough for our level for 11th tier, but for 9th or 10th, they're already going to be outmatched. So while we are cruising through the rest of this season, we are going to encounter problems at some stage. We're not seeing promotion this year, though, despite the good record that we had before and probably winning everything here at the end of the season. There's 1 match remaining. We're minus 11 to Truro Reserves, who have already been crown champions and will see promotion, which is good for us because they're easily the best team around in this 11th tier. But there's only a single promotion spot to that 10th tier. Next season, without a doubt, it's ours. We're probably going to go straight promotions for the next few seasons, with or without players leaving. We're going to cruise through the next few seasons. It's not going to be as many episodes to do that. That process has begun. But at some point, things will change. Here's why. Change number 1. We're going to turn semi-pro. I'm not going to request anytime soon. But we are going to turn semi-pro at some stage. We're going to have to sign everybody to contracts, and then eventually teams are going to start bidding other than just free transfers. When that happens, and they start bidding money, we're going to lose players. So we're going to thin back out what we're building. Second reason, right now, we have a training facility level of 1. Right now, we have a reputation of about 10 out of 10,000. We're going to have difficulty recruiting staff. Even if the finances remain good for a while and we continually go from training upgrade to training upgrade, we are many upgrades and a much better staff away from seeing players progress. Likewise, part of progression is not only getting playing time, but it's the opposition. At the moment, our opposition is, a current ability of 10. Next year, we're in this division. We're not going to see progress. Players are not going to progress. They're going to come in and they might have good potential. They might have amazing potential, like a couple of them, but they're not going to develop. Whatever they come in current ability-wise, for most of the players, they're going to mostly stay put. They might improve a few points, but things aren't going to change, and we can't expect them to change for a number of years. So, we climb the ladder quick. Reason number 3, the opposition's going to get better and better and better as we climb the ladder. we're also going to climb the ladder so quick that that reputation's not going to keep up with the rate at which we're leveling up, improving, climbing the ladder. So at some point, the opposition is going to come up to that point where we are. Now, what we have right now is going to get better. Let's say I lose a few players. Let's say we turn semi-pro this offseason. We sign everybody up to a contract, and immediately Manchester City decides we're a farm club. As unlikely as that is with a team of a reputation of 10 or 15 or 30. They're not going to see us. They're not going to notice us. If they do see us, if they do notice us, they're not going to respect us. They're not going to offer us money for players. But the players are going to want to go there. So I'm going to have some morale issues, and that's going to be a big problem. But getting back to my point here, even if we do start losing players, even if they do sweep in and offer us $1 million for this guy, that guy, and the other guy, the three best we have right now, those 30 current ability guys, those 50 current ability guys, they're plenty good enough to get us through the 11th and the 10th and the 9th tiers, etc., the lower tiers. So we will climb. Also, we get another intake next March, and one the March after, and one the March after that. There's going to be better players coming in. I might lose my three best. We might not be as good in that sense, but all those 30 current ability guys in the starting lineup, by next year, hopefully we'll have 40 at every position, current ability or better. And by the next season, hopefully we'll have 50 at every position or better, because the intakes themselves will supply us with a pool, and we're going to be bringing more players in with intakes than we will ultimately be losing to the Man Cities, the PSGs, the Barcelonas that are beyond bankrupt and somehow still surviving because everybody wants to see them, even though they're all losing money on Barcelona because Barcelona is so insanely in debt and have sacrificed their future for the now. Those combination of factors, no matter what happens, will see us climb these lower tiers easily and quickly. But there will come a time those best players will be poached away. The lack of training facilities will become an issue. The lack of reputation will be an issue with staff. Those combination of factors will catch up with us at some point as we climb the ladder. Whether it's the 6th tier, whether it's the 4th tier, whether it's the 8th tier, when? I don't know. But it will catch up to us. But in the meantime, we're going to push things along quickly. And for now, we have our final match of the current season. And a real surprise of a current season, because honestly, there was 4 matches after the intake. I figured we would finish this year with 5 wins based on the intake time. 4 wins post-intake, 1 win, 1 draw, the whole first portion of the season. That was my expectation. 22 matches, I figured we would lose 20 of them. So this has been very surprising. I think if we were in the 10th tier and not the 11th, it would probably look something like that. Maybe we have 1 win, maybe we have 1 draw, maybe we have a couple draws. You know, maybe it's 17 losses out of 22 matches played. But it would have been dead last with limited results. Some shock 1-0s, or maybe even a 2-1 once, or a couple 1-1s. But nothing good. Because I've done this. This is not the first year trying this experiment out. I've never seen our first year team be so successful. Never been down in the 11th tier. I've been down in the 10th. I've been down in the 6th. I've never been in the 11th. So this was a surprise. A welcome surprise. 5th place is great. 1 more win could see us hit 4th, but it won't see us hit promotion. So let's wrap this season up. So the Mouse Hole under 23s is our opponent for this one. So they're reserve squad playing down here in the 11th tier. That's half the league. Our reserve type squads, U23 type squads. I'd love to have our U23s eventually playing down here in the 11th tier and maybe climbing that ladder with us. It would be really cool to see how we make that happen, though. Not sure if we could ever pull that off. But that's ultimately why I established the U23s as Bick scores 3 minutes into the match here. Off the corner, far post, poorly defended. Are you kidding me? It didn't take much for him to beat his man. His man, in fact, decided to go pick somebody else up, threw his arm up, pointing at his teammate, pick him up, and ran away. And yeah, that didn't work very well. Another corner, another chance. Still in the first 10 minutes. This one's cleared away, though. Another chance at it, McLaren. Webb. Ooh, nice shot. Good save from Beck. Now the last match, the one that was comprehensive, where we won 5-0 on the road, that was a match where actually we could have had more. Our XG was about 6. So there was no luck involved in that. It was total domination and really could have, and sounds like should have been, at least one more. Brooks, long ball for Bick. Lays it off for Atkins. Atkins sends it out wide for Redknapp. Up to McLaren. McLaren cuts inside forward like. Inside winger like. Makes a poor pass though. Jones. Remember, we still really don't have high ratings. None of our guys are available to higher levels. But we score here to make it 2. Little fortunate. Jones lays it off on the outside for McFadden. McFadden's cross is going to get blocked by the first defender. We jump for the header, miss it entirely as the defender was probably putting a body into us and making it difficult on one teammate who's wide open, just runs up on it and taps it in. That's McDonald. The second half underway. Just a quick look at how the team has performed so far in terms of the individual ratings. You can see that once again the defense, they haven't had to do much. That's a huge part of why their ratings aren't terribly high. But if your team is scoring loads of goals, even your defense is going to gain a certain amount of credit for that, and we should be seeing ratings above 7 at the very least, but we're not. So they just aren't doing their job very well. Oh, interesting pass there, right between 2 defenders, low ball in. I like the idea. Good defensive clearance on that one though. Offside situation, 50th minute. McLaren through ball. Bick. Good block from the defense. Very good block from the defense on that one. And it's a corner kick. Place we've been very dangerous. Keeper gets there first, but can't hang on to it. Spills it. We lay it off. Then it gets cleared. Then, wow, what a save. That was an amazing save on that one. McLaren cuts in. They clear out. Long ball in when we had an open Smizek. Smizek's ball-playing defender here. And has been good. Forced a good save out of the keeper there, though we definitely didn't paint the corner. That wasn't the garbage can in the upper corner drill. Not a penalty. Not a penalty. Nothing wrong there. He wins the ball. He clears it out. But we lead 3-0 nonetheless. Starting to skip ahead. Bick is going to make it 4 here. Jones with the long ball over the top is going to lay it off for McFadden, and McFadden's going to cross that straight line into the box. Bick is going to beat 2 defenders to that header and put it in the upper corner. Late in the game here, Cahill's going to make it 5. We'll check the replay on this one. Corner kick. They clear it out. McFadden sends it back in. Norris is going to get there and then make an awkward cross to it. McFadden's shot is going to get saved by the keeper, pushed off the post. The rebound goes out to Cahill, who, no doubt about it, reactions were much faster from our team than Mousehole's. Smizek, good tackle there. And we should be wrapping this thing up at 5-0, maybe more. We've got about 5 minutes to play, but that's probably going to do it for this one. Oh, McDonald, another chance, and he makes it 6 moments later with the through ball. And now we do have our comprehensive performance, and we definitely don't have the XG to match this one. I think we're only 3, just a little over 3, 3.25 is all. So finishing very good today. Truro Reserves had, of course, already wrapped up the championship. They're going to finish with just 51 points. That's less than 2 points per match. It's not a great record, and we should easily shatter that next season. Falmouth Town just missing on promotion. St. Agnes move up to 3rd ahead of Hale. Same points, same goal differential. That's probably head-to-head. I think that's the next tiebreaker. And we wind up in 5th place with a plus 13 goal differential. All of the positive side of that coming in those last 4 matches. We're going to take a little bit of time to try to compare how the new intake players did versus the players, the current ability ones who had to play all season. The first note is Ken Lee, of course, hit a 3 for current ability, but now here in these last few weeks, Rodri Hallam, the center back who had the best rating, has reached a 2. So, whoa! But of course, the weakest of all of the new guys come in at a 30 plus. You can see a few of them only managing to get 1 appearance off the bench, a couple appearances for 1, and a few mixed starts, little bit of squad rotation when selected or skipped past by the AI. Craig McDonald with a 9.53 rating. 7 goals in 3 starts. Brody Bick, 7 goals in 4 starts. McDonald playing in that center attacking mid role right behind him. XG wise, 3.5 for all of these guys. Let's start drawing some comparisons. This group versus that group. You can see 7.0 and above. Tumwa, 12 starts, hit a 7.0 with an XG of 0.04. Okay, fine, he's a defender. But Demira was one of our primary attackers. 9 starts, 11 total appearances, 3 goals and 3 assists, which really is not bad at all. 1.84 XG. 11 appearances, 1.84 XG. Double that in guys that had just 3 to 4 appearances. That's how massive the difference is between this group and that group. Nicky Norris, let's see. Ashley Jones, that's one of the new guys. There's Hallam. Hallam, 7.14 rating, 24 appearances. 5 assists for Hallam. He still only had a 0.6 XG. He is the one standout performer. Ken Lee, the other one who stood out a bit. 21 appearances, 5 goals, 2 assists, 3.23 XG. So our best player just exceeded 3 in XG. Lonchar, 3 in XG, 24 starts for him. There is one key missing component in this column, and that's Mark Harvey. We'll have to look at Mark Harvey individually here to see what it is that he did. Here's Mark Harvey's stat line. He was our starting striker. After our intake, he was signed away to another club, brought back, of course, because it was free transfer. Free transfers are not happening. That's our minimum security, right? We brought him back mostly just so we could properly compare, because I don't mind losing these guys, but we don't have a full roster. These guys are going to still be on the roster next year, just playing U21s or U18s or U23s, kind of spread them out throughout that area. But anyway, 23 appearances, 22 of those starts, 13 goals, which of course, if you remember, he had, 6 goals in 5 matches, something along those lines at the start of the season. 1 assist, 10.25 XG, 0.74 for the assist, the expected assist, no penalties. So he got 13 legit open field goals with a current ability of 1. That's pretty cool. Overall, still only managed a 6.65 rating. His shots on target below 50%. His crosses completed was just 14%, just 2 successful crosses. Defensively, 8 interceptions, key headers, 1 every 4 matches played, if you count all 90 minutes. 16% of headers won. He did win 93% of his tackles. So when he did go for a tackle, he did well. 14 out of 15 were successful. So in terms of XG, 10 for our star striker. It's pretty good. 13 goals for him. Now, of course, his sample size is significantly bigger than what Bick or McLaren had, and you can clearly see how quickly these guys were headed past him. They're getting, in Bick's case, he's getting 1 XG every match. He's getting almost 2 goals, or at least 2 goal contributions every match. That's going to add up a lot more than the 13 and, 23 appearances for Harvey. You can really see the difference. Training ratings. Tom King is up there. Hallam is up there. Ken Lee, O'Sullivan are up there. But only 2, Brody Bick included in this, and McDonald, so 2 of our key guys actually, only 2 are at the bottom end of training rating, meaning this is how they perform in practice, which if you're going to develop Ethan McLaren, a 9.25 rating, an 8.57 rating, playing every match, scoring goals, that's going to be a good way to build your current ability and get it up over 100. Eventually, over the next 3 to 4 years, we want to build a core of players that are all over 100. That will get us good enough, I think, to compete at the 6th tier. After that, you gotta have something more. You gotta keep going. But that would be enough to be competitive in the 6th tier. That's why Ethan McLaren, I think, could absolutely play there right now. There are others, Bick, McDonald, maybe Ashley Jones, that could just about, or at least 7th tier, be okay. 6th tier, good enough to be on the bench kind of thing. Probably not good enough to start. But I haven't looked at ratings level by level by level. I remember that kind of a 150 plus is getting you into, decent Premier League level. A decent Premier League player. 180s are world class. Absolute world class. So that's why McLaren with a 183 potential could be world class. Minutes per goal, Cahill all the way down at an 8, but that's because he just came off the bench and scored in the 8 minutes that he played. McDonald with starts, 3 of them, 4 starts for these guys. These guys have some substantial minutes, or at least enough to be more than just a tiny sample size. We're looking at 38, 48, so McDonald actually doing the best. McLaren's at 88. Of the previous group, these are all the goal scorers and how long it was taking them to do something. Now, of course, we don't have Harvey. There we go. We do have Harvey. Minutes on pitch per goal, 153. So 153 does put him better than the entirety of the other starting players, the worst team ever players. He's definitely better than the rest of them, but you can see just how far behind he is. Our three attacking players that have already produced a multitude of goals. Looking at a couple of the smaller stats, key passes per 90. You can see just how far ahead these guys all are. Ashley Jones, Schmies, a center back, is completely outplaying everybody else. Tamira was the main guy before. Chances created per 90. Well, Sullivan, 3 appearances off the bench. Doesn't quite have the sample size you need to really count as something, but Demira, 0.8. That's decent. It's ahead of McDonald right now. One stat that stands out for me in favor of the weaker team, Kamara, Tumwa, Hallam, interceptions per 90, all higher than what Schmizek does. But here's the thing. Somebody like Ederson, Manchester City. Now, I can't stand Man City, okay? So I do have bias here, but look at the real stats, not just clean sheets or how many goals you give up, but the deeper stats about preventing goals, save percentages, intercepting crosses, things like that. De Gea for example. And for now, I'm still a Manchester United fan. For now. Depends on their ownership very soon and what happens with that. Because if they go Saudi, I'm done. My morality will not allow me to continue. And that's going to be hard. Even Mourinho didn't quite break me, though. Oof. Ooh. Anyway, De Gea might have a lot of clean sheets. And he has a part in all of that. But he also has not only a backline in front of him, but he has somebody who anchors the defense in Casemiro and or Fred, and pressing midfielders and forwards who put pressure on the other team to force turnovers. Even if they don't make the steals themselves, a good organized press makes a huge difference. As bad as Harry Maguire is and all the heat that he gets, the press was so horrible. Ronaldo's press was so horrible that the system breaks down stage by stage, level by level. And it was Maguire who kept coming up to fill the void of the defensive midline, or even occasionally the wingers. He was the one who kept coming out of position to try to make a play, and was forced to, because you couldn't leave these players wide open with that level of quality in the Premier League. You don't have a choice. Somebody's got to pick him up. But the failures of others constantly led him to be forced into making plays that he shouldn't have been making. If you haven't noticed, even though he hasn't been great this year, and he rightfully lost his starting spot, when he has played, he's been far better than what he was a year ago in the last couple of years. That's coaching. That's tactics. Tactically speaking, he was in a nightmare scenario that kept catching him out over and over again, and he took the blame. But anyway, the Gea stats are not good. The clean sheets part is fantastic, but he doesn't intercept crosses. He doesn't sweep. He's not a good passer. He's not good in possession. He's got the best feet in the world for a keeper. Kick saves. Does it better than anybody else. I don't even think it's debatable. I don't think there's any keeper in the world who has anything on the legs of David De Gea. The hands, save percentage is really not great. He gets caught flat-footed. A lot of goals go by that you're like, I think Alisson probably would have saved that. I think Pickford probably would have saved that, so on and so forth. Ederson is another one. Ederson is easily, in most pundits' world-class list of goalkeepers. Most wouldn't say De Gea is anymore, and that's why I use Ederson as an example here. His stats don't support that he's world-class. What does support that he's world-class is that the 10 that play in front of him are. Now, he's really good, okay? I'm not saying he's a bad goalkeeper. I'm not saying De Gea is a bad goalkeeper either, for that matter. But neither is as good as labeled, because the players in front of them, and in particular City, all the money that they throw at every issue imaginable. City has such quality, and they have the best manager on the planet. They have such quality that he just doesn't face much, and still can't even get the clean sheets. But when they're scoring 4 goals a game, not a problem when he's giving up 1. Something we're seeing with my guys is the guys in front of them are so good that Schmizek isn't having to intercept much. Why? Because the line in front of them, they're doing their job. The line in front of that, they're doing their job. And they're forcing bad passes. And so it's spreading the wealth a little bit more. Plus, ball retention. If we have the ball, the other team's not scoring. The ones, those guys didn't have the ball much. Our team does. Now, the intake kids, they have the ball plenty. Less interceptions happen. Doesn't make Hallam a better player than Schmizek. It's clearly not. Schmizek's not very good anyway. I mean, he's only a 47. See that he's done more offensively than what these guys have done. Passes the ball better than what they've done. Not great, but better. He wins a lot more headers, but he intercepts fewer balls. And that's just because there's fewer passes coming through his passing lane. He's blocking the passing lane. Or his teammate ahead of him is making the interception or the stop or the header, the clearance, whatever it may be. His tackle rate's 100%, by the way. It's only 2 starts and 1 appearance off the bench, but still, good stuff. Good stuff. And this time I'm going to begin preparations for the next season. We're going to take that whole group, except for Fullwood, as he's my backup goalkeeper, as we only got a single goalkeeper in the intake. It's time to not part ways with these guys, but part ways with these guys from the senior squad. For the moment, I'm going to bump them down to the U23s, but then I'm going to start inspecting what is their age and spread them out a little bit, put them into the 21s or the 18s if possible, and otherwise sit them all in the 23s. More than half of them are going to be our first group of under 18s, though some of these guys are going to turn 18 fairly soon, so I don't know how long they're going to be able to hold, as we have a number of months until the new season, so some of them might quickly get bumped up to the 21s, but for the time being, more than half of these guys, 11 of them, are going to make up our new U18 squad. And what remains are 6 players, already all over the age of 21, so they will stay right here in the under 23s. A few quick end of season stats, and then we're going to wrap up this season. And I expect that we're probably going to have 1 episode or 2 per season for the next few seasons as we climb the ladder relatively quick, mostly focusing in on sequence of score lines, kind of overall successes of the group, but more importantly, if anybody is getting swept away from us and if we are upgrading facilities, keep an eye on those finances. And if we turn semi-pro, those kind of key things that we're going to be looking out for. We're not going to focus as much on tactics or playing matches because we're going to be pretty comprehensive in winning a majority for a few seasons anyway. But anyway, sponsorship. 4.6K this year, no broadcast revenue down at this level. Corporate and hospitality brought in just over 4K, no competition prize money down this far, and match day commercial retail 101,000. That's decent considering we had 1,000 people per match and we played 13 home matches. In the 10th tier, or maybe the 9th, that's where we're going to get high enough to be included in the FA Cup. So we're not quite there down at this level. In our how we lined up team of the season, you would think the team that played 22 matches would get most of the nods versus the guys that played 4 matches. A couple of them snuck in there, though. McDonald and Bick managed to sneak their way. Bick, right? Played 4 matches, scored 7 goals. Harvey played 12. But remember, during that period where we had lost Harvey for a moment and brought him back, they forgot that those 12 starts of his, or not 12, those 22 starts of his and 13 goals that he scored, somewhere they counted for us, somewhere they didn't. He was a player who left the club and kind of left the equation. So I get it why Bick was ultimately selected there, but you would think somebody who struggled like Buckley wouldn't count. You would think Kamara, who was really poor, could have been beaten, but we got 2 of them in for this year. Obviously, the entire group will be from the intake starting next season. Player of the year was Fullwood, a goalkeeper who only played 12 matches. Interesting. Also, young player of the season. Lonchar got goal of the season. Yeah, see, Bick gets top goal scorer even though he wasn't. Hallam gets 5 assists, though. That's crazy. A center back. He also gets highest average rating, even though he clearly didn't have it, but our guys didn't play enough matches from the intake to count. And that's why we didn't see more of them, featured in the team of the season or anything like that. Most overall goals by a player in a season, though, Harvey does count for that. He's the benchmark. Goals in a match, McDonald with the hat trick. Grigg got the most shutouts, despite only having 4 starts. And only got shutouts in 2, so, as dominant as we are, we're not that dominant. That's why I said a few seasons, a few divisions, a few steps, a few rungs up that ladder, will totally dominate. But you could see, we only shut out half of the time. We're not that dominant compared to our opponents right now. I like that our worst discipline was 2 yellow cards for Ken Lee, who was, in all most senses of the word, was our best player. But our oldest player of Adam Buckley at 26 years old, that's going to hold for a while because it's going to be nothing but intake players, and it's going to take a while until they age up enough to exceed 26 years of age. Quite a few seasons, actually. Fastest goal was Brody Bick, 2 minutes 11 seconds. He was also the youngest goal scorer at 15 years, 239 days. Adam Buckley did score after his 26th birthday. All right, folks. Well, I think that's a good spot to stop this one. I'm going to be straight to opening day of the season for the start of the next episode. And like I said, I'm going to try to see if we can't get through a whole season within one episode. The intake will be the most important element of each upcoming season for a while here. That's going to do it for this one, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and bye for now.